Hello, everybody. This is Master Mentor Odelia Jackson for the Royal Rulers in Training. I'm with the DKI Rheumatology Institute, and just want to share a little bit about myself, um, some of the valleys and mountains in my life as a young person. Grew up in a dysfunctional household. Um, uh, Wound up in foster care for 5 years and separated from my brothers, but they kept the girls together, me and my sister. And, this, and then one day my mother got us back, and then we wound up growing up, you know, you know, raising ourselves, okay? And and when I say that, I'm not, dishonoring my mother. She did the best that she could with what she knew how. And so she taught us how to do stuff for ourselves, and that was through learning the responsibilities, the chores and stuff in the house. But we practically raised ourselves. So um, as I look back, I said she was teaching us to be self-existent. And one of the reasons why she was doing it because she had asthma and she was in foster care and her mother died when she was 10. And she got married at a young age. And so she had us at a young age too. She got married to my father at the age of 15, and she had us. Okay, she had stair steps from to 19. It says she had 4 children at 19, and I had three by the time I was 19, starting from the age 15. And so it was a ongoing thing there. And I just wanted to share that, as a growing up, I was angry and I was wondering why, especially as a teenager, I kept start questioning, why am I here? Who am I? Why they bring us in this crazy world? Right? I had no idea it was, God sent children here and on assignment too, because they have an assignment. Our assignment is to let them know what, point them in the direction that they're supposed to be going, so that they can display their assignment. And so that was one of the things, me growing up, I was just angry. I was really angry. I'm like, my father, I was a daddy's girl from what I remember as a little girl, but, as I got older, I was like, where's everybody? So through the years, I learned I was angry, but I learned to do things for myself. And that anger took me in a lot of places, that, don't want to be, promiscuous, um, having children at 15, and um, drinking, taking drugs and all those things and looking for love in the wrong place. And not realizing, and to me, that was like being wanted to be validated, codependent, and there's no guidance um, that I needed, like I would like to do for the children today. And that's what the Lord had us. That's my assignment, to teach the children today so that they don't have to go through that. Now, their minds need to be renewed and they need to know who they are and their true purpose. But as I continue with this valleys and, beginning of my life, through those years, I just kept saying to myself, why am I here? What is this? And then after I come out of the drugs and got myself together, and the Lord started talking, I was born again, and the Lord started talking to me, telling me to get your kids together. Okay, so I started teaching them through the Proverbs and the Psalms, um, and didn't know that was the doctrine that I was teaching. Didn't know it, but um, but I was doing what he told me to do. Okay, a lot of times I don't even know what I was doing. I was just following what I heard the Spirit speaking to me. And I remember one day I was cleaning up the house and singing, I love you, Lord. I love you, Lord. And I heard in my spirit again, it says, If you love me, feed my sheep. And that's when the Bible club got started at my house on my block. And yeah, children come in, they didn't even know Jesus. They used to ask me, who is Jesus, when I would start teaching about Jesus. So I don't knock uh coming up in the tradition of the church tradition that I did, because I learned a whole lot. I just didn't learn the accurate knowledge of God. So that knowledge of good and evil kind of like trick you up. So when you learn the accurate knowledge of God, um, they don't get tricked up with that. And so that's why I said it's so good that, I wish I would have known the stuff that I know now when I was young. I think things would have been a whole lot different. Okay. so, uh, so I love to teach because I used to have my sisters and brothers on the steps. I remember that like it was yesterday, teaching them. And I had no idea I would still be doing this almost 40 years later. I'm still teaching children. And now I have my grandchildren. So that's part of my answer prayer. You got to watch out when you pray about stuff because God will use you. Excuse me. And God will use you to do what you praying for. Okay. And so our children need to know who they are. They need to know their true divine purpose. Who are they? And who they need to know who they are and why they're here, and the mechanics of how to use what our Father given us. Okay, and so one of the things I was thinking about was that you know how dogs make puppies. Them puppies is after their own kind, right? And cats make kittens. They after their own kind, right? And dogs learn to bark. The puppies learn to bark from their you know, they learn to bark. I think it's just in them. That's their nature. And same thing with cats meowing. Well, God said in Genesis 1:26 that he said, let us make man in our own image and after our likeness. Okay. So when he made us, he breathed a breath of life into man. We were made after his own kind. We were gods. We are God. We are gods. And after his likeness, we are supposed to be doing the same things that he did. When Jesus said, I only do what I see my father doing, I only say what I hear my father saying. Those are the things that our children need to learn, because they claim to be bored, even after they had the electronics or whatever. I think they just use that because they don't know what to do with themselves. They need, even though that's fun, but they're letting it rule them. And they're supposed to rule in life, not let life rule them. And so those are one of the things, those are some of the things that they need to know, that you're supposed to walk in authoritative power as a young person. That scripture that talks about, don't let no man despise thy youth, and I can't remember off the top of my head the rest of that. It talks about how you're supposed to be in purity and example of the believer and all those things. That's where the integrity comes and the equity comes in, and those things have to be broken down. So it takes time, because their mind has to be renewed. They have to be off the electronics for that hour, and it might be only 45 minutes, but I give it an hour just in case somebody got questions. So um uh excuse me. So these are some of the things that we're going to talk about: the priest mode, the God mode, their practices of what they're supposed to be doing, just like the disciples when Jesus sent them out to heal the sick and cast out devils and set the captives free, just like Jesus. As Jesus did, so are we. Excuse me. I put this cold from these little kids. Um, and in 1 John 4:17, it talks about as Jesus did, so are we in this world, right? in Galatians 2:20 says that we were crucified with him. Nevertheless, we live, yet not I, but Christ live in me. Who's me? Christ, right? Right? So, and this is the life which we ought to be living by the faith of the Son of God. So if you know how to operate in the name of God, you will be operating in the faith, in the faith of the Son of God. So I was just thinking, how to breaking this down so that children can understand who they really are in the Father, and that they become one. And it has to be with the mindset, because you already have the mind of Christ, which the scripture says, but you have to learn what mind is this, because we have so many things going on around us. So they need to know how to operate in self-existent instead of codependent. They need to know how, they need to know um the Father's voice. They need to know how to operate in the words of knowledge, the healing the sick. They need to know when to give a prophecy and all those things from the Father. But they must do what they see the Father doing. They have to see that in the spirit realm. Okay. And they're not with your eyes, but in the spirit realm. And they have to say what the Father said. That's from the spirit realm. It's not what Pookie and them said, or Bob or somebody else has said. Is what the Father says when you do all these things, words of knowledge and prophecy and all those things. And they have to know how. So all it takes time, and it has to be broken down so that they can grasp it, and then turn the world upside down. Not be turned up, but turn the world upside down. Okay. So those are some of the things. And then, as the Lord brought me out of all of those things, because, they say you come to the end of yourself. That's what happened with me. I had come to the end of myself. I didn't want to die like that or live like that no more. And so I went to the Lord, and he met me where I was at. And then he taught me. He said, I will teach you and instruct you in the way that you should go. And I was listening, because I was ready. So my prayer is that we have children who have ears and ready to hear. I have to move the little girl over. She's seeing everything. So I'm gonna stop right here because she's getting into too much stuff. But just want to share a little bit about that, starting on Patreon. We need the parents. The Bible talks about, not the Bible, I never seen that in the Bible. Scratch that. But I've heard that say that it takes a village to raise children. And so we need the parents' help to get them in front of the Zoom, and so that they can hear with understanding of their priest mode and walking in the name and operating in the spirit realm, so that they can be as the Father wants them, so they can know what the Father wants them to know, and not from the tradition of men, but from the true knowledge of Elohim. Okay, that they would learn the knowledge of God, not the knowledge of good and evil. Even though they may hear it and seen some of it already, but they would not live from it. They would live from the reference point of the Spirit of God. And that is where we're trying to go, etc. Okay, because I got these kids, I'm trying to watch the kids at the same time. I'm doing this. And so we will October every Wednesday, and come on, little girl, you're gonna fall. Every Wednesday and Thursday, that's when we're gonna start out. We see how things go. We might have to tweak it. 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. I usually do an hour, but usually it's 45 minutes. Unless somebody got some questions or about something. And I think that's basically it, starting in October. I wanted to wait till everybody gets settled in school. Gotta get the clothes, gotta do this, we gotta do that. And getting settled in school this way at 7 at night, just before they go to bed. Some kids, I know some kids don't go to bed that early, but they get the word in them before it's time for bed, and they get to meditate, they get to practice what they're learning, they get to understand walking in the name and the priest mode. So looking forward to doing this with our children, our youth, this generation and the generation behind them that's coming, that God's will be done in this whole matter. Look, I'm distracted with the kids. You see, I got this one here climbing on stuff. I got this one over here climbing over the flowers. All right. And I'm trying to do this at the same time. So anyway, um, I just wanted to share a little bit about my youth. I understand my assignment. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just be operating in the spirit too. Okay, as the spirit shows me what he needs them to know, right? Yeah. And then I'm just this is one of the places that I um I guess you call it a niche. I don't even know what you call it, but I enjoy doing it. Okay, yeah, all right. I enjoy doing it. Once I had accepted what God had told me in my spirit that this is the assignment that He had given me, you know, and He made it very clear. That encounter was so clear, it made butterflies in my stomach. That this is the assignment He had given me, and that I am a trainer. That's what He told me too. And you know what trainers are, right? They coaches and teachers. Okay. So I went and looked it up. Okay. So now so can't wait to get started again. And look forward to seeing you all. We'll be putting up a link and a reminder of when we're getting ready to get started, okay, with the Patreon on that platform. All right. Talk to y'all later. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. Okay, see y'all later. Okay, stop.